Thanks for logging in to my channel today. My name is Lovisa, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create some beautiful skies. You know, there's so many people who have issues with painting skies. I'm going to show you some simple ways to keep it nice and fresh, and some little tricks so that your blending it feels natural. So I've got these two images here. Hopefully this isn't giving you a glare, but here's the two images. I really like these clouds. I like these clouds too, but I think that, you know, something a little bit with some color is a better option for today. And I love the foreground in this photo and not so much in this one. So how many times do you take a photo of something and you love part of it, but not so much another part? So this is what we're doing today. We're taking two images and we're going to create one composition using the two images. So what I've done, I'm just going to move this so that you can see it a little bit closer. There you go. So I have given my canvas a yellow tonal wash, and this is the yellow medium, and it's going to give me a really nice glow when I start to add the colors on top. And I've already outlined my clouds, and I've given myself a foreground so that I can keep things in place. And here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the photo of the cloud shapes. I don't necessarily need the foreground on the other one, but I just really want this one here because that's my main focus for today. So let's get started with the clouds. I'm going to use some big brushes, and they've all been hydrated, so they're ready to use. And when I hydrate my brushes, basically I just dip them in the water just to get them so that they're nice and flexible and that they'll pick up the paint. So let's get something deposited. So I'm going to start off with the white and more white. Now you're probably wondering why I'm putting so much white on my canvas. You've probably had this experience before, because many of us do. When you're trying to do a sky and your sky is too dark, and it takes you half a tube of white to get the sky, the color that you're looking for. So by adding the white first and then adding your blue, then you're going to have a really nice sky. And you can see the colors as you're adding the blue or pinks or whatever you're adding to your sky. You can see exactly the right value that you're looking for. We've got a really nice soft blue behind that big puffy pink cloud. So I'm just moving the white paint around. I'm going to add some color to that in a moment. And I'm using a cross-hatching technique, and you can see there's a lot of paint on my canvas, and that's what you want to start off with because you want to be able to blend. So let's get that in there. Look at that, beautiful. And bring that down. I'm not going to worry about the foreground so much, but I do want to get those clouds in and that sky area. That is the number one thing that I'm going to be working on and showing you today. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And get that color over. Now I need some more white paint down here. I'm just going to paint over where that tree comes on top. Now there's some lake right here that's visible. And then there's the mountain over here. I'm not going to worry about those. Like I said, I'm really going to focus just on getting that sky in. More white. And you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, that's a lot of white paint. But wait till you see what that does when you start to add the color to it. And I'm just going to bring that down here. Now, I'm going to pick up cerulean blue, and I'm very careful to pick it up on the edge where I don't have any green paint, and it's going to be right here. Now look at that nice soft blue. Now I did not rinse my paintbrush at all. I'm picking up a little bit of blue at a time because I don't want it to overpower my nice light mixture. And notice how I'm doing a varied stroke work. It's like cross hatching. It's kind of like doing X's. There we go. Get that in there. And we want a little bit of that up here too. A little bit more. So let's bring a little bit more of the blue up here. And that is the cerulean blue with the white that I'm using right now. Now we've got that band of clouds. I'm going to leave that in there. I've actually moved it down a little bit more than what the reference shows. And I really like that cobalt sort of blue color in there. So let's bring that softer blue up here. And this was last evening's sunset, by the way, when I was out for a walk. And I just really fell in love with that really pretty pink in the sky. And everything else was such a calm evening after a whole day of rain. And let's get that in there. There we go. Pull that color over a little bit. And you don't want it to be like perfectly uniform. You know, I've seen so many times where, you know, people do their skies and it's like straight across, straight across. You want to do the cross hatching movement, and it's going to give your skies a lot more depth. Now this area here is much darker, so I'm going to pick up the cobalt blue instead of the cerulean blue, and a little bit more white. And again, I'm still cross hatching, bringing that down. There we go. Right here it's much darker, much darker. So cobalt blue with the white and a tiny bit of the red deep. Now I've really got such a small amount on there. It's just on the corner. And I'm depositing the red first. Because it's on the corner, I know exactly where it is. And now I'm going to add the blue to it. Now, red is such a powerful color, so you have to really watch on your pickup. But I've got a beautiful purple color here. I'm going to add more blue to that in a moment. But what I do is I always look at where that color could be in my clouds, and it's over here. So why not pick up that color that you just deposited and bring it over to another area instead of, you know, have you ever, you know, rinsed your brush and just gone into the color that you're looking for and you think that you need to discard that color? No, no, no. You just kind of bring it over to another area. As you're moving the color around, there's always somewhere where that color can go. And now I'm going to add the cobalt blue to it. So more blue, and I'm picking up more white, and I'm also going to pick up a little bit more of the red and bring that in a little bit darker, like so, and bring that over. There's a little bit of a crest there. Bring that down, and notice my stroke work. I'm cross hatching. Bring that right across, actually. Just by putting a little bit more pressure on my brush, I can bring that right across, like so. And now I can lighten, just bring that up a little bit more. I need more paint though, so cobalt blue, the white. Notice how I'm picking up the colors. The blue, the white, and then a little bit of the red. So it's very important on how you pick up your color as to what color you are going to achieve. Now that just comes with practice. There's no magic formula for that. What it means is you just need to just get that sketchbook out that you have and get blending some colors in there and playing with color. Playing with color, I can't express how important that is. More paint, So cobalt blue, the white, and a tiny bit of the red. And I'm just going to go over here and bring that in, dot that in, get that cloud in there, and do a little bit of cross hatching. Now this is still wet, this whole area. So what that's going to do is it's going to give me a really nice soft blend between the two. Now, have you ever used the acrylics and you're having a problem with getting that nice transition? The reason why you're having a problem getting that nice transition is because you're not using enough paint. So if you've got enough paint on your canvas, you can move that paint around much like an oil painter does. You just need to get brave and add enough paint to your canvas. Now I'm picking up more white and I'm just going to add it. Get that nice transition. Now what you're trying to capture, you're not trying to capture the exact same scene that you see. You're trying to capture the mood, especially when you're dealing with skies, because really skies, anything goes. So let's get that in there. And I can adjust some of those colors later. Now remember that painting is a series of adjustments. You're adjusting shape, you're adjusting form, you're adjusting light, and that is something to remember when you're painting. So when you don't have quite the right color, just remind yourself, painting is a series of adjustments. Now I'm picking up a little bit more red and going into this area here. Now that is the red deep with the cobalt blue. I'm going to pick up some more white, and that area is quite a soft color. That's what really drew my attention on how pretty that was with the white and the purple, and then of course the pink tufts up here. Now let's move that color over. Pull that color down, and notice that my stroke work is varied. I can't express how important that is. Now I'm picking up a little bit more white with the cerulean blue, and I'm using a different brush. I just want to lighten this just a little bit down here and give that area a little bit more texture. There's like many layers here. It's probably very difficult to see from where you're enjoying this video, but I'm just going to bring that in, a little bit more of the white with a tiny bit of the cerulean blue, not too much, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that up here too. There we go. There's so many different little things that I see when I'm doing this. Now let's just switch brushes here, and I'm going to add a little bit more white. I'm using a smaller brush, and there we go. Get that in there, get that in there, get that plateau. And as I mentioned earlier, I am not going to worry about the foreground here. The foreground is really not that important today, at the moment. I will just focus on the clouds, and there we go. I'm almost ready to put some pink on there. Boy, that's going to look so pretty. And you're probably wondering, okay, what red are you going to use to get that really pretty color? And the red that I'm going to use for that is going to be the cadmium red light. And that is going to give me that beautiful pinky color. Got to get a little bit more white on there first, and bring in a little bit of purple here. There we go. A little bit more of a, continue that string a little bit more here. Now, this is really just blocked in. It's got a lot more work to go, but the main thing that I wanted to show you was how much paint you should be using on your canvas when you're doing a sky. it is so important. So just adding more white, because once I add that pink, it's going to just transform everything. It's like magic. There we go. Bring that in there, bring that down. I just wanted to mention that I do have online classes, and when I'm teaching my online classes, you're getting the full screen is the painting itself, and you get a really great view of what I'm doing. And you can check my website for that information. Now let's get some of these clouds in here. Bringing in that pink is really pretty. And I'm also going to bring in a little bit of yellow after I get the pink in there. There we go. Bring that down a little bit more. And notice how my stroke is a bit more of a scrubbing stroke, getting that softness in there. This brush is a little stiffer, so I can handle it a little bit more vigorously. I'm just going to bring that in here. So I'm using the red light, and I'm also going to add a tiny bit of the yellow light and white. And just go back up here. There we go. Bring that down and start to bring that up. Now I can't possibly show you the continuation of this in the short time that we have, but you can see how using multiple brushes and how having the right amount of paint on your canvas to start off with is so important when you're doing a beautiful sky. Now whether it's, you know, just a beautiful clear blue sky with some beautiful white clouds in it, or whether you're doing a sunset, it doesn't really matter. Just remember to make sure that you're adding enough paint. Now the painting is built in layers, so it's not like a one-shot deal. You're going to let a certain area dry and then go back into it. And that's where having other areas in your painting that you can work on while you're waiting for an area to dry so that you can add another layer. Like for example, if you know, if I was to continue to work on the sky and push it too far, then colors will start to lift. And you don't want that to happen, because then you're going backwards. So what you want to do is then you focus on another area of your painting, for example, the foreground. Now, as I mentioned earlier today, earlier in this segment, I won't have time to focus on the foreground so much. But my focus today was really to just work on how to start to develop your sky. And that's the most important part of our little segment today. And I really like where it's going. I still have like a lot of work to do yet, but you can see a pretty good idea. You can feel those clouds, and I'm just going to add a little bit more white up here. I like how there's a little bit of a gap, just a narrowing there. And of course, once I start to add more layers, it just gets more interesting, because then you're layering on top of what you've just done, and then your clouds become more three-dimensional. So I hope that you enjoyed today, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of a close-up here of what it looks like. And there's still so much more to do, but thank you so much for logging in today. Thank you for watching today. And if you'd like to know more information about what I do and my classes, check out Lovisa, artcanada.ca.